Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm sorry I didn't hear a reply. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. On behalf of EDUSIKH, it is my privilege to welcome each one of you, our distinguished chief guest, dignitaries in the audience, and of course, above all, our true torchbearers of the society, our teachers. Let's begin today's journey, not with applause or speeches, but rather with prayer. For what are teachers, if not prayers in human form, guiding, blessing, and lifting souls, not just in India, but across the world. So may I please request our volunteers to lead us today in prayers to the Almighty.
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभउ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद। जप आद सच जुगाद सच है पी सच नानक होसी भी सच। सोचै सोच न होवई जे सोची रखवार। चुपै चुप न होवई जे लाए रहा लिवतार। भुखिया भुख न उतरी जे बन्ना पुरियां पार। सह सियाणपा लख होवे ता इक न चलै नाल। किव सचियारा होइए किव कूड़े टुटै पाल। हुकम रजाई चलना नानक लिखिया नाल। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
Hukum Rajai Chalna. Of course, you have to learn to walk in his hukum. We, of course, thank SNE Gurbani channel for streaming our event live on YouTube. And before we start today's event, I think all our hearts go out in prayer to those affected by the floods in the great state of Punjab and across the country, in fact, across the world. So we pray to the Almighty to bring succor and some kind of reduction of misery to all of those wonderful people in our country and across the world who are suffering because of floods. And that also tells us that we as teachers have got one more duty to do, which is in addition to informing humankind about education and lifting their morality, we also need to inform people and mankind about the dangers of global warming. Right, now as per our tradition, may I request Fareen ma'am to please join us on stage and to present floral greetings to our chief guest, Mr. Harjinder Kang. May I also request Mrs. Kang to please come up on stage as well. Please. Stay back. And we also have with us one of the most enlightened intellectual and a wonderful soul, Mr. Joginder Singh Oberoi. We'll request him to please come on stage. Oberoi Saab. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we talked today about education. The agenda is to talk about education. And this education is not just about literacy. It's about values, about vision, and the courage to shape futures. EDUSIKH has always believed that teachers are the true architects of destiny, the destiny of nations, and the molders of the annals of history of mankind. Therefore, teachers obviously hold the future of all our lives in their hands. And to share why EDUSIKH felt the urgent need to institute these awards, I invite the driving force behind this mission, a man who has dedicated his life to service through education and empowerment. Sardar Paramjit Singh Ji, the founder and the managing trustee of two NGOs, the Dharam Bharati Mission, also called DBM, and EDUSIKH. Well, he wears many turbans, and with aplomb. He is an author, he is a humanist, he is an intellectual, and of course, a philanthropist. He spent decades uplifting communities and ensuring that education is not a privilege for a few, but a right for all. His vision gave birth to these awards, recognizing teachers as nation builders. Therefore, please join me in welcoming Sardar Paramjit Singh Ji on stage.
Thank you, KP. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. First of all, we are very grateful to our chief guest, Harjinder Kang Sahab, and Mrs. Kang for gracing this occasion and coming and encouraging us with his presence. I am also very thankful to other guests who have made it today. This is a very momentous day for DBM, for EDUSIKH, where we are instituting these awards for the first time, and we hope to carry this further. I'll just have a short presentation to make on what EDUSIKH is and why we are doing what we are doing. EDUSIKH is not only teaching Sikh children, but is aiming at transforming the entire Sikh ecosystem. Because we believe that we cannot just teach our kids in isolation. उन्हां नूं कल्ले नहीं पढ़ा सकते, सारा ecosystem नूं ही change करना, पूरी community नूं education दी importance समझनी हैगी आ, साडे teachers नूं, साडे principals नूं, साडे colleges नूं. So we are working with everybody, not only with the children, Sikh children, but the teachers, the colleges, there are institutes like Guru Nanak College, Khalsa College, whatever Sikh institutes are there. So we're trying to work with everybody to increase the level of education in the community. So in our life, there's only two ways to progress. We have to give wings and we have to be rooted. How do we give wings to our children? It is through education. Education is the means for empowerment. Asi apne bachchan nu agar chahte ki agge jaan, then education is the only way today that can empower our children to go further in life. But at the same time, asi unna nu rooted bhi rakhna hai, apni jehdi virasat hai, apni language hai, apni culture hai, ude naal bhi rooted rakhna hai. So we have to work on both the things, and that is why EDUSIKH is working on both the things. Asi bachchan nu padhande bhi te apni jehdi maa boli hai, Punjabi language, Punjabi literature, उसनों भी असी propagate कर दे. So if you see, our mission is to empower and enable Sikhs to achieve success and excellence through holistic education, not just the education through books. And holistic means that we cater through life skills, soft skills, communication skills, vocational skills, and of course through mentoring, guidance, personality development, career guidance, motivation, everything. So this is the kind of holistic education that is needed, not just the academic education that is given in the schools. And at the same time, as we mentioned, that of course we are working on the roots also through our Punjabi language and the literature. Of course, education is the foundation for the future. today the entire world is changing, transforming so rapidly, and it is because of education. Those of us who have come up in life have come up through education only. But what we in EDUSIKH believe is not only education, but quality education. And for quality education, as I mentioned earlier, the entire ecosystem has to work together to ensure that the education happens. And that is why all these stakeholders, the community, school leaders, teachers, parents, everybody has to transform to take our society and the kids ahead in life. So each stakeholder plays a unique and complementary role, and without each part being playing, the system will not improve. So EDUSIKH was born in 2019, just 6 years back, and we are already, as a part of our holistic education, are working in many fields. First, of course, we started with our education for the children through scholarship programs, online classes for Sikh children all over India who cannot study, who cannot take tuitions. So we take online education for them through our teachers who are stationed here. And then, of course, we are doing mentoring and career guidance for the Sikh children. The next project was, of course, promotion of Punjabi language through Ma Boli Olympiad, which is the first of its kind in the country, where we hold Olympiads, Punjabi Olympiads through Gurpurab. We put up stalls there and we promote the Punjabi language. And then, of course, we even started a thing called Sikh Entrepreneur, promoting the Sikh entrepreneurship, because as you see, our Sikh business also are floundering. They are stagnant where they are. Just तरह तुसी देखो कि Jains या Marwadis आगे चले गए नहीं, even the entire online the business also has been captured by them, although they used to just run kirana shops earlier. But our Sikhs have failed to go to that level. So we are working with Sikh business owners also and professionals. And this year in January and February, we opened our first EDUSIKH Career and Skill Development Academy along with Singh Sabha Dadar, and the institute is working there in the Dadar Gurdwara premises. And there we are preparing our Sikh children for competitive exams and any career guidance that they want to have, any skill that they want to have, any competition that they want to appear, either CA or CAT or CLAT, anything. So the guidance is provided throughout the 24 hours, all the days our centers are open. And now this is the new program that we're starting today. On Teachers' Day, we wanted to do on Teachers' Day, but due to Ganpati Visarjan and other things, we have to postpone to 7th. So we are starting this teacher enhancement program, about which my colleague will later on talk. And of course, the annual Best Teacher Awards that we are constituting today. And in the pipeline is a program called EduCore, in which will be a self-help platform for Sikh working women in any field where they're working, and we'll be providing them guidance to how to progress in their career. So these are some of our activities which in EDUSIKH in the last 6 years we've been able to do. And today, of course, is a very momentous day. So not just an attempt to help the Sikh children, but help in transforming all these stakeholders. These are some of our future programs. We want to promote research by Sikh students on Sikh projects. Then, of course, we wish to open more EDUSIKH centers like the one we have opened in Dadar, Bombay. We want to open in almost every city wherever there is a demand. And of course, we want to work with Sikh institutes of learning to help them become centers of excellence. And of course, we want to conduct knowledge seminars with young Sikh leaders and publish their papers as annual publications. Now, coming to today's function, why we have constituted the award and how we propose to do this. The purpose and vision, the Best Teacher Awards, of course, celebrates our outstanding Sikh teachers, because they are the ones who are going to encourage and motivate our next generation of Sikh learners. And that is why through this initiative, we wish to highlight the educators who inspire their students, use creative teaching methods, and positively impact the community. So these are the three aims, and these were the guiding lights in choosing our teachers who have been selected today, who have been doing this. So these awards are a way of saying thank you to those teachers who teach not just the knowledge, but with passion, creativity, and heart. And how did we choose the winners? There's a panel of Sikh educators and community leaders who judged these teachers on the following 4 parameters. First was, of course, teaching style and innovation, impact on students, and their own professional growth and leadership roles that they have played, and contribution to the Sikh community. So according to these, we marked these applicants who applied. We received almost 50 nominations from all across Mumbai, from which we chose our candidates. But after we received the nominations, there was a very surprise element. We had earlier thought that we'll be choosing 10 best teachers. But when we received the nominations, we were very pleasantly surprised to see that there were so many PhD scholars who had dedicated their lives to advancing knowledge. There were many who were working as principals of colleges. And of course, there were many teachers, primary and secondary teachers, who, though working with the youngest learners, have built extraordinary legacies through their commitment and care. So we had to then rework our strategy. It was listening to these stories that we realized that one award alone would not do justice to such diverse and remarkable contributors. And so we decided to expand into 3 categories. So we have now, of course, the EDUSIKH Best Teacher Awards, which was our main announcement that we make. But apart from that, we made a different category, EDUSIKH Distinguished Educator Award for PhD holders, and an Eminent Educational Administrator Awards for those who have been working as principals and doing a good job. Because this way, each educator is celebrated within the space where their contribution shines the brightest. Because otherwise it is like judging apples with oranges. So we didn't want to do that. We wanted each to fight in the category in which they belong, so that they can be, they can be winners in those categories. So today we'll be giving awards in these 3 categories, not just the Best Teacher Award, but Distinguished Educators and Eminent Educational Administrators. So this evening, it is not just about the awards. It is an important step in transforming the education ecosystem. And we hope to rise once again, reach new heights, and achieve academic excellence, and show the world that the Sikhs can and do excel in every field. Today's function, my colleagues will further speak about the challenges teachers face in this rapidly changing world and how they can prepare themselves to overcome them. EDUSIKH is committed to walking this journey with you. We are not just going to give this award today and not work with the teachers. We are ready to work with those teachers who are willing to advance their career, who want to move up in life and face these challenges. So, and finally, to those who may not receive an award tonight, please note that your contribution is no less valuable. The selection process was very tough, and the difference between the winners and the nominees was very fine. These awards will return next year, and we encourage you to come back even stronger and better prepared. For in the end, every sincere teacher is already a winner in the lives of the students they touch. Education is the passport for future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. So it is a ticket to future success. When we invest time and effort in learning, we set up ourselves for opportunities and achievements that lie ahead. So let us as a community resolve to focus on education, and that to quality education. You can reach out to us if you need any help or email us. Thank you so much. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Paramjit Singh Ji. This is wonderful and a good start to our evening today. As teachers, of course, we are people who are able to create foundations of success for the future generations. So there is a huge, onerous responsibility on all of us. So what we want to do today is to present to you with a few challenges that we perceive the next 15, maybe 20 years on, that will be coming down shortly. Keeping in mind that there are two different kinds of worlds on earth. There are two different kinds of Indias itself. There is the Bharat, and then there is the India, with no disrespect to either. If you were to go 100 kilometers away from Bombay, you enter literally into Bharat. And within Bombay also, there are so many schools and colleges that need to have so much upgradation in what the facilities are able to provide. So keeping in mind that there are two different kinds of systems available, what we did at EDUSIKH is to understand what the challenges will be right now for us in India, and what they will be with the advent of technology in the days and times to come. And on that note, therefore, what we want to talk to you about is not just a syllabus, but to go beyond the syllabus. And let's start off, of course, once again, since this is my section, so allow me to once again have you reply to me, Vaheguru Ji Ka, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Fantastic. So, as teachers, of course, we are shaping and adapting generations. But what's very, very important is that we need to be adaptive, extremely nimble on our feet. What we see is the landscape is changing, and is changing in a very, very big way. Now, if you take up as an example a storm, a huge storm, a tsunami that is approaching, and the tsunami is not of water, but of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, that is coming. As teachers, we are lighthouses, trying to throw and show light upon humankind and tell them what's a safe pathway. How do you escape being ravaged by the storms? So as teachers, we have evolved. I remember when I started my career 30 years ago, we had those dirty chalks that we used to write on boards. And invariably, half of the teaching community had allergies, all developed to that dastardly effects of chalk. And then progress came in the shape of some wonderful glass that you could write on with some markers. And that is the advent of a new kind of analogy, the smell of the markers. And then, of course, came projectors. Now, which teacher here has not felt that dust on their fingertips and gone home with their clothes full of chalk dust, and mom and dad saying, "Aaj bada kaam kita." Haan ji, bada kaam kita aaj. But things have changed. Now what we are seeing is big data being used in a big way to predict what a student will and can and should do. Therefore, at some level or the other, we find teachers are facing this huge challenge of being and staying relevant. So, how do we ensure we stay relevant? Let's talk about that. All right, that's the whole idea. Now, the first thing we got to do is treat AI or ChatGPT, what we all mistakenly assume as AI, as our ally. What we are scared of, we need to make as our friend. And therefore, to use this tech tsunami, our problems, of course, are AI tutors that are available round the clock. So what do students do? Well, I've seen that in my classes. Students actually go through ChatGPT, and they've gone through the portion, if they're good students. If they're good students, they've gone through the portion, and when they come to class, they are already prepared with answers and stuff that they have studied on the internet. And internet has got some wonderful videos, so that attracts them. So therefore, as a teacher, I find myself under challenge. The challenge is, am I relevant? Because AR, VR, and AR, VR, what is AR? Augmented reality. All right, and what is VR? What are you going to be wearing goggles and stuff like that? So that's going to come. And by the way, it's already come in some universities that we visited in the US and across the West. In India, it's going to take time, but it's going to come. But we also realize in India, there are two different challenges. There is a challenge of numbers. Now, if I show you a typical classroom in America, and I'm talking of a school, how many students do you think will be there in that classroom? A typical classroom. Give me a number, please. कितने बच्चे होंगे उस क्लास में? हाँ, 30 बच्चे होंगे. Okay, very good. 30 बड़ा चंगी शुरुआत है. और नंबर 2. V, अच्छा, त्रिवेदी आ गए. फरीन ने क्या V? अच्छा, तो इसे थल्ले आ गए. हाँ जी? Between 10 and 20. Classroom छोटियां. Other which there will be one teacher and one assistant to the teacher. And the beauty is both of them are using smart boards and AI to great impact. Oh, India ch kado hovega? Ho hi nahi sakda. We are 1.4 billion people. If you're going to have 10 students in a classroom, forgive me, Guru Nanak Vidyak Society will have to invest a lot more money in a lot more classrooms. Ote hon nahi laga. So the way we are going to meet that challenge has got to be different. And how do we meet that challenge? Well, first of all, we start understanding what is the automation, that authority shift. And if you notice on that screen right now, we are noticing the student who's wanting to listen to AI, but there is also a teacher who's an overpowering authority. Who does she listen to? Now, we are becoming kind of second choice teachers. How do I transition and become the first choice teacher? Simple. Right at the bottom of the screen. By reasserting human authority. Because we can mentor. AI cannot mentor. AI will simply give you outputs because it has got certain inputs. But mentorship, ho hi nahi sakda. That mentorship comes from you, the human. Because you are transmitting to them lived experiences. And that AI cannot come in with. That is what you do. Bring in their values and your lived wisdom. And ultimately, there is bound to be a lot of ethical dilemmas that you will have to conquer. I mean, come on. Let's take a vote on this one. March 2020. Ki hoya? COVID. All right, students sat at home. This school was shut. Colleges were shut. Our institutions were shut. I sat at home. The first week, we partied. Chutti hai ji. Ek hafte di chutti, 2 hafte di chutti. Then we realized, wow, this has come to stay. And suddenly, teachers started realizing that they had to create material for the internet. You adapted. You changed. And COVID, once it got over, somewhere in November of 2022, I don't know if you remember those dastardly days. They were horrific. But once students came back in November 2023, you would have seen straight away the stuff on top. IQ, gone for a toss. EQ, 0. Answer my question. Who's got the shortest attention span in the world? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਪੁਰਾਣੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਕਿ a goldfish that lives in that small jar ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹਦੀ attention span ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਘੱਟ ਹੈ 20 seconds. And it makes sense because imagine a fish leading life, entire life in that small jar. It had to have 20 seconds attention span. It had to forget. But the tragedy is the humankind, you'll be surprised, studies have shown that the human's attention span has reduced to 8 seconds. 8 seconds. And why has that happened? Precisely because of COVID. Because everybody is stuck into this. That small 4-inch or 6-inch screen that has impacted their minds so badly that if the screen doesn't change, it's not dynamic, attention wavers. And now that's a challenge for a teacher. How do you compete against that kind of a mind change? It's huge, but we will need to do it. So we are now realizing that AI is coming up in a big way, so you need to be able to understand that the human mindset has changed. Therefore, everything that you do, and I'm going to talk of that in my next slide, has to be not just lecturing, but it has to be inclusive, collaborative work. And what do we mean by collaborative work? Oh, we follow and pursue exactly what people and teachers have done in fantastic universities. One of them, of course, is Harvard, which I'm sure you've heard of. And my congratulations to Harvard. Any reason? They won against Trump. They won against Trump, $2.6 billion. So congratulations to Harvard. But here we are. I think Inderjit Virji wanted to hear this one. The pedagogical, logical, how do you pronounce that word? Pedagogy. All right. Oh, pedani. So ped, of course, is for children, and gogical. That's for. So the earthquake that is happening is time spans have gone down. Therefore, we are now facing this reality. I give essays to students. I can tell you with utter confidence, unne essay likhya hi nahi, AI has done it. एक ज़माना ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ कि ना हसीन ज़माना ਸੀ कि एक ऐसे याद किता उन्हें चिपकाता इत्थे उत्थे. Remember my favorite mother, my favorite father, my favorite cow, itthe chipkao, utte chipkao. Now AI is taken over. So therefore, no longer can classrooms be the way we actually conducted classrooms in olden days, where a teacher gave a lecture, wrote some stuff on the board, you're losing the student. You've got to give them projects. You've got to make groups and encourage groups within the classroom. Sade classroom vich घट तो घट 60 बच्चे ते होंगे. 6 group बना लो. Those 6 groups have one leader created, and then make them compete against one another and come out with project reports. Those project reports they have to present. Because ultimately, you have to understand as teachers that more than domain knowledge, there is something else that will determine the success of your children in the future. So Harvard Business School conducted a study. They brought in all the people that were hiring from their campus. So they brought in these HR specialists from big companies, Google, Meta, Apple. They brought them in and told them, what are the parameters you look for when you're hiring people from our campus? What do you look for when you're recruiting? ला देके दो चीज़ा खड़ी हो गई. बहुत सारी चीज़ा सीख गया. But the two things that stood out were, number one, domain knowledge. And the second was soft skills. Now, HBS was surprised at the answer that all of these recruiters, they put 80% valuation on soft skills, just 20% on domain knowledge, which is a very clear signal to all of us sitting in the audience as teachers, is we've got to instill the ability in our youth to be able to engage, to be able to talk. Knowledge hai, unhu tusi share kidda karna hai. So make these projects competitive, give assignments where at the end of the assignment, that team leader has to come out and present what the entire team worked on. That is one way you're going to be beating AI and the impact of AI. Of course, we already have lots of challenges. A lot of us don't have the skills to work with AI at the moment. I understand that. But what I also understand is that if we are able to use AI as a tool to personalize learning, we're able to reduce learning down to the individual's level of understanding. That is when change will happen. That is when they will do really, really well. Because ultimately, if I go beyond this, what is it that machines can't do? Oh, very simple. Machines simply cannot bring in empathy. They cannot look the child in the eye and say, I believe in you. Machines can't do that. And therefore, because they cannot see eye to eye, they cannot ignite curiosity. वो एक जिज्ञासा जो होती है कि कुछ मैं सीखा, कुछ मैं करा. That child has to get up in the morning saying, I want to come to school because I want to listen to teacher X or teacher Y. Because ultimately, you will not believe it. We work in the education sphere of higher education, either for a master's or for PhDs. And at that domain, we realize one simple truth, that every student who's specializing in a certain section or a certain area, they are all inspired to get into that sector because some teacher at the primary school and secondary school impacted them so well. So you are therefore so important to create that curiosity, that jigyasa to know more. And therefore, we have a very simple call to action for you. The call to action is, number one, embrace AI. Use it as a co-teacher. Use it as not as a competitor, but as a compatriot. Number two, you got to reinvent methods. No longer can we depend on sheer lecturing and writing stuff on blackboards or whiteboards or smartboards and showing PPTs. It's not going to work. Rather, what we have to move from rote learning to creative thinking. We got to inspire that in our children. We got to teach ethics. I think somewhere, as teachers, whether you're teaching science, you're teaching math, or biology, I don't care. What every student wants to learn from you is, how do I lead life? What are the morals? What are the ethics? I need to make them understand that even more, because what has happened after COVID was an absolute disaster, where EQ is so disturbed. Therefore, you got to reinstill that spark of morality in our students, in our community. And of course, ultimately, we are all Sikhs. And as a Sikh, I'm a student. And therefore, we've got to remember that we've got to be students and we've got to be willing to relearn, first of all, unlearn, and then relearn. You've got to adapt, right? And double down on humanity, because ultimately, what will get you through is empathy in your classrooms. So, by doing this, we will not just stay relevant, but we will stay important in the lives of our students. And ultimately, the real question is, will AI replace teachers? That's not the real question. The real question actually is, will teachers evolve fast enough to remain irreplaceable by adapting and adopting AI? That is where we've got to move to. So let's go back to the story. The storm, that maelstrom, it's there, it's impacting humanity, it's fierce. But then we all know storms are temporary. But lighthouses, that's you. You're going to stay forever. So my dear colleagues, and I'm so happy Paramjit called me a colleague. I'm privileged that you did that. So dear colleagues, teachers, bearers of humanity, you're the lighthouse keepers of education. And as long as we adapt, as long as we keep learning, as long as we never let our human lights go out, every student will always find their way home. That's strongly what we believe. And I hope you bring them home to a wonderful life. On that note, my talk gets over, and just before you say anything, I'd like to ask you a question. Did you like this presentation? I can't hear you. जिन्नी भी images तुसी देखियां, all are AI created. All the images. This entire text and design you see, PowerPoint did it by itself. मैं सिर्फ data पाया, सारा कुछ उन्ने किया. This is precisely what you need to adapt and adopt. Use AI and use the power of technology to make your classrooms more interesting. Well, We are here today to talk about teachers. And some teachers, they go beyond classrooms. They inspire generations, they influence thought, and of course, they set new standards for excellence in education. The EDUSIKH Distinguished Educator Award, as Paramjit Virji mentioned earlier, that the sheer volume of applications, it was overwhelming. And therefore, one of the categories we created was this one, the EDUSIKH Distinguished Educator Award. So we honor, via this award, visionaries whose scholarship and commitment have left a lasting mark on their students and, of course, their institutions. And now, each of these, so we picked up, the judges, the jury picked up 8 distinguished individuals. And each of these 8 individuals, they have illuminated countless lives. Honestly, of course, when we saw all the nominations and the applications, we were humbled because we said, how can we be in a position to judge them? Who are we? So we felt very small looking at what the teachers had accomplished. But ultimately, 8 individuals are picked up, and all of these 8 people, they have illuminated lives with their wisdom, and we love to honor them. So before we do that, may I please request our chief guest, Mr. Harjinder Kang, and Mrs. Kang also, please, to come up on stage, and may I request our founder, Paramjit Singh, also to come on stage. If you could please. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the very first person we love to recognize. And that very first person is Dr. Surinder Kaur. And we are delighted that Dr. Surinder Kaur accepted our invitation, and thank you so much, ma'am. Now, heading to the second award for the evening, and this is Professor Dr. Mandeep Kaur Kochar. Thank you very much. And now for the third award of the evening, may I please request Dr. Satinder Kaur Gujral to please come up on stage. and we head towards the fourth Distinguished Award of the evening. And this goes to Dr. Parveen Kaur Nagpal. Goodness gracious, I don't know if you counted the number of publications, the number of books that have been written by 4 people so far. More to add. It's my absolute privilege to now call Professor Dr. Kulvinder Kaur to please come on stage. Thank you, ma'am. And now It's absolutely a privilege to call the next recipient of the award, Dr. Gursimran Kaur Uppal. And now for the 7th award of the evening. And I hope all of you realize that these are wonderful people. All of them are PhDs, doctors, and therefore they are at the top of what they do. So please put your hands together for Dr. Kavalpreet Kaur Puri. And now we move towards the 8th award of the evening. And this goes to Dr. Charanjit Kaur Banga. Thank you very much. A small request. I think the team of EDUSIKH also is extremely worried that you're sitting for too long in your chairs. So we want to get your step count up. So we request all the other 7 award winners to please come up on stage. It'll get your heartbeat going and step count for the day as well. We request you to please bring your award and your certificate with you and join us on stage, and the shawl, of course. Could you please come up on stage? And ladies and gentlemen, you are seeing the true wealth of Sikhism right now. Because ultimately, this is what this is exactly what our third Guru preached about getting equality for women. And please notice that all of our distinguished teachers on stage are all women, and they're all PhDs and doctors. And could we please request the Chief Guest to please join? Please.
Thank you so much.
That is fantastic. We truly feel humble in the presence of such wonderful faculty, and we bow at your feet for the wisdom you have. So awards, of course, are meant to honor excellence, but EDUSIKH is equally committed to building the future. And to share details of the Teacher Enhancement Program, may I now invite a visionary leader, the CEO of IMFS, Mr. EDUSIKH Mata, a strategist and mentor. He has empowered the dreams of thousands of students and educators alike during his work as the CEO of IMFS. Please join me in welcoming Mr. EDUSIKH Mata onto the stage.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਪਹਿਲੇ ਤੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਜੈਂਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੋਨੋਂ 'ਚ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਲਾਈਵ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਜਾਣ ਸਕਣ ਕਿ ਵੀ EDUSIKH ਟੀਚਰਾਂ ਲਈ ਕੀ ਕਰਨੇ ਦੀ ਵਿਜ਼ਨ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੱਲ, ਇਫ ਯੂ ਆਰ ਅ ਟੀਚਰ, ਵਾਟ ਡਜ਼ ਇਟ ਮੀਨ? ਕੀ ਮਾਇਨੇ ਹੈ ਟੀਚਰ ਦੇ? ਟੀਚਰ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਰੋਲ ਪਲੇ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ? ਕੋਈ ਬਤਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਰੋਲ ਟੀਚਰ ਪਲੇ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਟੀਚਰ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ? ਸੈਕੰਡ ਮਦਰ, ਮੈਂਟਰ, ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ, ਫਰੈਂਡ, ਗਾਈਡ, ਕੈਰੀਅਰ ਪਾਥ। ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈਗੇ, ਰੋਲ ਮਾਡਲ, ਡਿਟੈਕਟਿਵ। ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਦੇਖੋ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਬੋਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ, ਬਟ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਨਾ ਲਾਸਟ ਵਾਲਾ, ਡੈਕੋਰੇਟਰ। मैंने देखा बड़े स्कूल के प्रोग्राम जो टीचर सारी बिजी होंगी है जो कोई इवेंट होंगे तो सो हैट्स ऑफ टू यू। प्लीज राउंड ऑफ एप्लॉज टू ऑल द टीचर प्रेजेंट हियर। माय स्वीट एजेंडा, जस्ट अ शॉर्ट एजेंडा हैगा, इज अ सब तो बड़ा चेंज साड़ी एजुकेशन सिस्टम में आया नैशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी का। आई विल टॉक अबाउट दैट कि भी नैशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी की है, उस हिसाब से की चेंजेस आए हैं साढ़े। Then we will talk about की challenge की आया उसके नाल, and then what are the career option and how EDUSIKH and we can work together. And I will take a small question and answer and we'll quickly close that one. So all you with me? Okay, thank you. Now असने आज तक देखे कि साड़ा 10+10+2 साड़ा प्रोग्राम चलता है 12वीं तक दा, 10 और 2 12, बट नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी इसको चेंज कर रही है, उन्होंने कह रही है 5334 5334। इसका मतलब की है 5334 का? पहले 5 साल जोड़े होंगे है वो तुसा दे फाउंडेशन स्टेज गिने जाते हैं, बच्चे नू फाउंडेशन स्टेज गिना जाता है। 5 साल पहले बच्चा फाउंडेशन स्टेज करेगा, विच मीनस इट विल बी फॉलोड बाय ग्रेड 1 and 2। दैन उस तो बाद आएंगे 3 प्रिपरेटरी स्टेज बोले जाते हैं उन्होंने, करेक्ट? इस अंदर आएगी एक्सपेरिमेंटल स्टाइल ऑफ लर्निंग। फिर तुसा दा आएगा मिडल एज, ग्रेड 6 7 8। इस अंदर तुसा दा आएगा सब्जेक्ट ओरिएंट टीचिंग, इतने सब्जेक्ट ओरिएंट टीचिंग चालू हो जाएगी 6 7 8। उस तो बाद तुसा दे आते हैं सेकेंडरी स्टेज 9 to 12, जो KP वीर जी समझा रहे थे कि भी प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग आ जाती है। ये जरा साढ़ा और मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी हो जाएगी। हूँ साइंस आर्ट कॉमर्स जो असी बोल रहे हैं वो काफ़ी हद तक चेंज हो जाएगा क्योंकि इट बिकम्स ए मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी। सो दिस इज द फंडामेंटल चेंज जो नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी टिल हायर एजुकेशन तक लैके आ रही है। उस तो बाद ही मैं गल नहीं कर रहा, मैं सिर्फ 12th तक की गल कर रहा। तो व्हाट डज दिस मीन? एक्चुअली देखा जाए तो नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी बड़ा बड़ा चेंज लैके आ रही है। वो पहले असी कंपेयर करना कि साड़ा ओल्ड सिस्टम की सी, नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी की लैके आ रही है। देन वी विल अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस वी ऑल विल फेस। इट इज़ नॉट फॉर टीचर्स बट ऑल्सो फॉर पेरेंट्स टू अंडरस्टैंड कि भाई साढ़े बच्चे हुण किहड़े प्रोसेस के थ्रू एजुकेट हो रहे हैं ताकि उन्हें अपने बच्चे को गाइड कर सकन। तो पहली गल जी सब तो सी फोकस ऑन मार्क्स। मेरा मुंडा 99.92% लेके आया, करेक्ट? दैट वाज द फोकस, वो निकल जाएगा। दूसरा हो जाएगा मोस्टली इतना हो जाएगा क्रिएटिव एंड क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, विच इज व्हाट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट नाउ, करेक्ट? एंड देन इट विल कन्वर्ट इनटू ਫਿਊਚਰ ਰੈਡੀਨੈਸ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੋਲ ਰਹੇ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਹੋਣ ਗਲੋਬਲ ਸਿਟੀਜ਼ਨ। ਵਾਟ ਡਜ਼ ਦੈਟ ਮੀਨ ਗਲੋਬਲ ਸਿਟੀਜ਼ਨ? ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਕਿ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਬੋਰਡ ਹੈ, SSC ਬੋਰਡ ਹੈ, ICSE ਬੋਰਡ ਹੈ, IGSE ਬੋਰਡ ਹੈ, IB ਬੋਰਡ ਹੈ, ਕੈਂਬਰਿਜ ਬੋਰਡ ਹੈ, ਕਰੈਕਟ? ਇੰਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੋਰਡ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂ ਚਾਹੀਏ ਇੰਨੇ ਬੋਰਡ ਦੀ ਕੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈ? ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਟਾਈਲ ਦੀ ਟੀਚਿੰਗ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ ਟੂ ਮੇਕ ਇਟ more future ready, global citizen. Yes, state boards lag behind, but NEP unu fix karegi, correct? Then on the assessment, ਸਾਡੀ assessment ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਅੱਜ ਤੱਕ ਦੀ? ਸਾਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਾਈਨਲ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੈ, ਬਿਮਾਰ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ? ਫੇਲ। ਇਜ਼ ਇਟ ਰਾਈਟ? ਮੈਂ ਪੂਰਾ ਸਾਲ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਕੀਤੀ, ਮੈਂ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਾਂ ਦਿਨ ਬਿਮਾਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਫੇਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ, correct? It has to be continuous assessment, and this is what the NEP says, that it is a continuous skill and competency at assessment ਹੋਏਗੀ। ਹਰ ਸਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊਸ ਪੂਰਾ ਸਾਲ ਅਸੈਸਮੈਂਟ ਹੋਏਗਾ। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਾਸਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੇਪਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਸਕੇ ਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਫੇਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਇਟਸ ਅ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਮਾਈਂਡਸੈਟ ਵਿਚ ਵੀ ਵਿਲ ਬ੍ਰਿੰਗ ਇਨ, ਕਰੈਕਟ? ਫਿਰ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਫਿਕਸ ਸਿਲੇਬਸ, ਫਿਕਸ ਲਰਨਿੰਗ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਜਾਓ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਮਗਅਪ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਫਸਟ ਆਏਗਾ। I was very good at mug-up. ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਬੁੱਕ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਸੀ, ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਪੁੱਛ ਲਓ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਆਨਸਰ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ what you learn you will get. Now it will change from known to unknown, which means ਮੈਂ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਉਹ ਪੁੱਛਾਂਗਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਪਲਾਈਡ ਹੋਣਗੇ। So that is a fundamental shift which will happen. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਿਲੇਬਸ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਏਗਾ, ਬਟ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਪੁੱਛੇ ਜਾਣਗੇ। ਸੋ ਰੌਟ ਲਰਨਿੰਗ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਲਰਨਿੰਗ ਕਰਦਾ, ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਪਾਏਗਾ ਬੱਚਾ, ਤੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟਿਵ ਥਿੰਕਿੰਗ ਕਰਨੀ ਪਏਗੀ। ਇਸ ਇੱਕ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਮੈਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਦੇਣਾ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਲਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਣਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਬੋਲਣਾ 2 + 2 4। ਵੈਰੀ ਗੁੱਡ, ਆਈ ਲਾਈਕ ਦੈਟ। ਵਾਟਸ ਯੂਰ ਨੇਮ? ਓਹ ਫੈਂਟੈਸਟਿਕ। ਬਟ ਇਹ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਬਈ ਮੈਨੇ 2 + 2 ਪੜ੍ਹਿਆ, 4 ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੈ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਮੈਂ ਅਗਰ ਬੋਲਾ ਕਿ ਬਈ ਤਪਿੰਦਰ ਕੋਲ 2 ਐਪਲ ਹਨ, ਤੁਸਾਂ ਕੋਲ 2 ਐਪਲ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਪਰਮਜੀਤ ਸਰ ਨੂੰ ਦੋ, ਪਰਮਜੀਤ ਸਰ ਕੋਲ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਐਪਲ ਹੋਣੇ? 4. Very good. So this is applied learning, applied mathematics. So this is a change we say, which will come, correct? ਤੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ 2 + 2 ਪਤਾ ਹੈ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਸੇ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਉਹ ਸਿਖਾਣਾ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ। That's a fundamental change which will come. Next, which is very impact to the teacher, is ਕਿ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਪ੍ਰਮੋਸ਼ਨ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਸੀਨੀਅਰਿਟੀ ਬੇਸ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਸਾਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਸ ਬੇਸ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਪ੍ਰਮੋਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਏਗੀ, ਉਹ ਚੇਂਜ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਚੇਂਜ? ਉਹ ਤੁਸਾਂ ਚੇਂਜ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ। नेशनल प्रोफेशनल स्टैंडर्ड्स फॉर टीचर निकाल रहे हैं, which means there is criteria, there are hours, there's a research paper basis which you will get a promotion. Private college आप कर सकते हैं, but this is the guidelines for private schools and colleges also, which means promotion is not based on seniority, it is based on your capability, correct? Then research and innovation पे बहुत focus हो जाएगा। असा ने आज देखा है कि भाई KPV जी ने बताया कि भाई हाउ AI is taking over. मैं सुन एक गल बताना चाहना, MIT, anybody knows what MIT is? MIT? Anybody knows MIT? It's a very good college in US. Sir? Oh, fantastic. Maharashtra Institute of Technology. There's somebody saying. MIT is #1 in STEM courses in US. They did an analysis. It's very interesting. ਸੁਣਨੇ ਵਾਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ 2 ਗਰੁੱਪ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਏ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ। ਇੱਕ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਨੂੰ AI ਬੇਸਡ ਲਰਨਿੰਗ ਟੀਚਰ ਸੀ, ਔਰ ਇੱਕ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਨੂੰ ਫਿਜ਼ੀਕਲ ਟੀਚਰ ਸੀ, ਕਰੈਕਟ? ਜਿਹੜਾ AI ਬੇਸਡ ਟੀਚਰ ਸੀ ਉਹਨੇ ਹਰ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਦਾ ਲਰਨਿੰਗ ਪੈਟਰਨ ਪਤਾ ਕੀਤਾ, and then the AI changed completely how to teach an individual student. ਚਾਵਲਾ ਜੀ, ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਵਿਜ਼ੂਅਲ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਕੰਪੇਅਰ ਟੂ ਟੈਕਸਟ, ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਜ਼ੂਅਲ ਦਿਖਾਣਗੇ। ਭਜਨ ਅੰਕਲ ਦਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਉਹ ਟੈਕਸਟ ਬੇਸ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਟੈਕਸਟ ਬੇਸ ਲਰਨਿੰਗ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗੀ। ਮਤਲਬ AI ਪਿਕਡ ਅਪ ਕਿ ਬੱਚੇ ਦਾ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਲਰਨਿੰਗ ਲਈ, ਵਿਚ ਮੀਨਸ ਦੇ ਵਰ 80% better than a physical teacher in teaching. ਆਈ ਓਪਨਰ ਹੈ ਨਾ। ਸਾਡੀ ਕਲਾਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੀਕੈਸਟ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਟੌਪ ਵਾਲਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਉਹ ਬੋਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ 3 ਵਾਰ ਪੜ੍ਹਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਇੱਕ ਹੀ ਸਬਜੈਕਟ ਇੱਕ ਹੀ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਨੂੰ 3 ਵਾਰ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਓਗੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਵੀਕੈਸਟ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫਿਕਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਨਾ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਟੌਪ ਵਾਲਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਉਹ ਬੋਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ, उसे क्लास अटेंड ही नहीं करेगा नेक्स्ट टाइम, मैनू आंदा है सारा। सो द डिफरेंस ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, ਸਾਡੇ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਵਿੱਚ ABC ਕੈਟੇਗਰੀ ਸੀ, ਇਹ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ABC ਬਣਦਾ ਸੀ, ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਟੌਪ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, B ਵਿੱਚ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਛੋਟੇ, C ਵਿੱਚ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਛੋਟੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲਰਨਿੰਗ ਘੱਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ। ਸਾਡੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਤਾ ਸੀ ਇਹ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਫਾਸਟ ਪੜ੍ਹਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। That was the system we maintained, but AI has inbuilt into that one. So teacher has to compete with that. That is what KP sir was talking about. ठीक है? Then mandatory CPD आ रहा है, capability development program आ रहा है। 50 घंटे साल दे देने ही देने हैं। It has to be mandatory, whether it is part of the school or you get it external. This is the mandatory which we need to do for the teachers. So, मैंने कुछ points highlight किए हैं just to give an idea कि भी changes की है compared to the old system than to the new one. There are many points, but I thought these are important one कि सानू पता लगे। एक और चीज आई है, मदर टंग या तुसी रीजनल लैंग्वेज विच भी पढ़ा सकते हो। That is also one of the biggest. So for us in Maharashtra, मराठी दी नॉलेज सानू भी होनी चाहिए है क्योंकि वो भी मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी से आएगा। Now one of the thing उन्होंने जरूर पाया, एक उन्हें कहते हैं उसनु इंटीग्रेटेड टीचर एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम, which short form is ITEP, जो मैं गाल कर रहा सी। Now इन्हों का सब तो बड़ा प्लान है कि भाई टीचर्स का फोकस बहुत किया है ना नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी। दो वी आर चेंजिंग कि भाई साड़ा पूरा पैटर्न चेंज हो रहा है, एजुकेशन सिस्टम हो रहा है, फोकस इज ऑन टीचर्स। भाई टीचर्स को असी किस तरह इंटीग्रेट करिए प्रोग्राम में सो दैट दे टेक दिस फॉरवर्ड, बिकॉज दिस आर द टीचर्स हु विल टेक इट फॉरवर्ड। करेक्ट? तो इन्होंने क्या किया है, एक टेस्ट निकाला हूँ कि भाई 2025 जो है 45,000 अराउंड टीचर्स अटेंडेड दैट वन। पहले कितना होता है कि तुम B.Ed करना है तो ग्रेजुएशन करोगे, करेक्ट, एंड देन यू विल डू B.Ed। बट नाउ लाइक JEE, इंजीनियरिंग, मेडिकल, एनी अदर, you have to appear for a national test after 12th, which means 12th तो बाद मेरे बच्चे एक टेस्ट विच अपीयर कर सकते हैं। जिन्हें भी सेंट्रल स्कूल्स है उन्होंने एडमिशन लई 12th तो बाद एग्जाम मैंडेटरी कर रहे हैं। This year 45,000 teachers appeared for that one. Now what it means is that, I'll not go to the criteria, but what it means is that आज साड़ा बच्चा जरा टीचर बनना चाहता है ड्यूअल डिग्री ले सकता है। पहले सी ग्रेजुएशन करते सी एक डिग्री, देन आई विल डू बैचलर्स। दोनों बैचलर्स सी मेरी, आई वाज नॉट डूइंग एनीथिंग एक्स्ट्रा, बैचलर्स इन आर्ट्स एंड देन आई डू बैचलर्स इन एजुकेशन, विच वाज नॉनसेंस एक्चुअली देखा जाए तो, क्योंकि दोनों बैचलर की तो मास्टर्स की दोनों। बट नाउ दे आर फिक्स इट, दे से कि भी तुसी ड्यूअल डिग्री कर सकते हो, यू कैन डू B.Ed एंड यू कैन ऑल्सो डू एनी ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट इन दैट डोमेन। So that's one of the biggest benefit we will do that one. And it will be under NCTE. By 2030, they will replace the old system. All will go through the new system coming forward. So this is a bigger change. अगर तुसी career guidance कर रहे हो बच्चा दा जिन्होंने करना है, this is an important information. As a teacher, we should know कि impact हो जाएगा मेरा. Correct? So, we looked at कि भी national education policy की changes like आ रहा है academics इच। We looked at it कि भी वो की changes like आ रहा है मेरे teacher दे program लई, वो ये बता रहा है कि मेरा teacher दा career progression कितना होएगा। So what are the challenges we are looking at? Correct? सब तो पहला है ये पूरा जो shift है national education policy दा, every teacher needs to understand what is the impact we are doing. Correct? What is the impact on that? पहली गल वो आंदी है। दूसरी सब तो इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है जो केपी वीर जी ने बताई सी, ए एंड डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन। ये बहुत बिग वे नाल सानू इंपैक्ट कर दिए। सो वी नीड टू लर्न हाउ टू लिवरेज इट एंड यूज इट। करेक्ट? देन द थर्ड चैलेंज कम्स इज विच माय फेवरेट टॉपिक, इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन ऑफ द एजुकेशन। क्यों हो रहा है कि भाई आज साड़ी एजुकेशन सिस्टम नू इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन करने की गल हो रही है। मतलब ये है कि भाई वी शुड कोलैबोरेट विद द इंटरनेशनल यूनिवर्सिटीज फॉर रिसर्च, फैकल्टी एक्सचेंज, फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम, स्टूडेंट एक्सचेंज, सेमेस्टर एक्सचेंज। देयर हैज बीन लॉट ऑफ डिस्कशन हैपनिंग। आई वाज इन US लास्ट May, June, and I met around 20+ universities, and all of them are very keen to collaborate with Indian universities for this one. So international, बहुत बड़े पैमाने थे, especially in southern part of India, Hyderabad, Telangana has been doing very well. In fact, after 12th, they have tied up with international universities कि बच्चा मेरा 12th तो बाद सीधा international university चला जाए. And they are promoting it very big. So fundamentally what it means is that बच्चा 10th तो ही या 9th तो ही APs करना चालू कर देता है, if you know what APs are. Correct? So internationalization of education is one of the bigger challenge which is coming all the way. Correct? Then skill gap. Now, as a teacher, तुसी काफी टाइम तो पढ़ा रहे हो, you have all the knowledge, you have everything, but there are things which are changing. How to use ICE, correct? How to use AI, how to use digital tools. वो सारी चीज़ा एक gap है जो साड़ा challenge है सब तो बड़ा. Finally, workload and career path. Stagnation आया एक time तो बाद. As a teacher, I stagnated. So what are my career options? How do I grow? What are the options for me? So these are the current challenges which I feel all of you will agree with me. Correct? So question comes is, अगर ये सब challenges है, what is that national education policy बता देगी career progression कितना होएगा? So they have divided the career progression. First is the beginners. कहते कि भी जेडी teacher pass होएगी वो beginner level ते आएगी. And this is what they will do. Then they call it as proficient, then expert, and finally the master. A career progression उन्होंने define किया है for all the teachers. ये मैं again कल कर दिया ये higher education तक है. उस तो beyond UGC और AICT करता है जो assistant professor, professor, lecturer आता है. But this is I'm talking about the teachers. Correct? तो ये levels उन्हें define किए हैं. Basis that the career progression will happen. And this is where I was talking about कि तुझे 50 points, research, innovation, वो सब is in there किया जाता है. Correct? So with that, अगर तुझे देखो ये पूरा landscape है under national education policy. Question ये आ जाएगा, EDUSIKH की करेगा तुझा लाई या तुझे EDUSIKH नाल की कर सकते हो jointly. How do we collaborate? Correct? So first and foremost, are you with me till the point we discuss? Do you agree? Okay, fantastic. So, EDUSIKH can help you first is upgrade qualification. We saw there are so many PhD teachers. I'm so proud of you. And I think you are the guiding factor for all the other teachers to do the upgrade of your qualification. One of our chairperson, Charanjit Kaur, she was one of the panel member and chairperson to decide on the Teachers Award. And she could not join us. And she has given some guidelines, which I would like to, help you with. She said, we can help you with this in terms of preparing your essays or SOPs, preparing your profile. There are 2 profiles you have to do that one. Then look at the outcomes, not the actions. अगर मैं बोल दे कि मैंने innovation किया है, very good, you have done the innovation. But what is the outcome of that one? That's very important. So she has given those points, which means how we should write our profile, how we should upgrade our profile, and what should be the career options. So she has given that to us. And thank you for her. She could not make it, but we thank her for all the efforts she has done to shortlist all the candidates. Then we look at AI and EdTech. So EDUSIKH can help you understand AI and EdTech. We will conduct workshops. We'll conduct this hands-on tools for you, which will help you to understand AI and EdTech. KPVZ is a very good example. He showed his PPT, which he generated through AI. Correct? And then we'll look at research and publication. We'll help you with research and publication. We'll also look at what are the career diversification you can do. Correct? If you are a teacher, you want to go in administration. If you're in administration, you want to go on some of the government. So we can help you to path how your career should progress. We can look at those points. Correct? And finally, we can look at international opportunities. That's a long shot, but definitely that's something we can do if there are any international opportunities for some of the great teachers like you. We'll be happy to do that one. Okay? So with that, this is where my call for action would be ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ EDUSIKH ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੋ, ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਟਾਈਮ ਦਿਓ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਸਕੀਏ, ਤੁਸਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਸਕੀਏ. Continuously we all grow together so that we can make impact to the society. Last but not the least, I will say that ਕਿ ਭਈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੋਲ ਕੇ ਗਏ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਵਿਦਿਆ ਵਿਚਾਰੀ ਤਾਂ ਪਰਉਪਕਾਰੀ. ਮੈਂ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਕਿ ਭਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਵਿਦਿਆ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ. ਐਂਡ ਯੂ ਆਰ ਦ ਬੈਸਟ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਆਫ ਦੈਟ ਵਨ. ਐਂਡ ਆਈ ਵਿਸ਼ ਯੂ ਆਲ ਦ ਲੱਕ. ਐਂਡ EDUSIKH ਤੁਸਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਖੜਾ ਹੈ. ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹਰ ਸਟੈਪ 'ਤੇ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. ਬਕਾਇਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੋ. ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਤੁਸਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ, ਸਿੱਖ ਬੱਚੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ EDUSIKH ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜੋ. We'll ensure that every kid shines and, you know, get the wings for the dreams they are looking for. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Inderjeet Veer ji. So I think एक हवा बनया होया AI da. AI will come, will take away jobs. Not necessarily true.
Sorry,
हाँ जी.
By the way, ये पूरी PPT ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੈਂ ਦਿਖਾਈ ਸੀ, ਇਹ ਪੂਰੀ prompt engineering ਨਾਲ ਬਣੀ ਹੈ. There is nothing data I have given to this one. So complete PPT was prompt engineering. So ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ PPT ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਣਾਈ ਹੈ. I am happy to take a master class.
Awesome. So I am the first one to enroll for that class. I'm sure there are so many more. So, but if you think about this, we are teachers. But look at the world of medicine. How many deaths do you think happen in just one city, the biggest and the brightest, most powerful city on earth called New York? How many deaths do you think happen per year due to misdiagnosis? Give a number. कोई भी number सुटो. की फर्क पैंदा है? 200K. Wow, that's a good start. Yes, it's in hundreds of thousands. The answer is so amazing. 375,000 deaths approximately every year in just the emergency rooms, all due to misdiagnosis. Patient आया रात ਨੂੰ 2 ਵਜੇ, ਡਾਕਟਰ ਦੀ ਨੀਂਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹ ਐਕਸ-ਰੇ ਦੇਖੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਰਾਬਰ, ਲੱਗੀ ਸੀ ਇੱਥੇ, ਪੋਸਟ ਲਾਤਾ ਇੱਥੇ, misdiagnosis. AI now ensures that misdiagnosis, and by the way, historical data shows that misdiagnosis today, or actually correct diagnosis today, is just 30 to 40%. That means 60% of us, when you go to our doctors, they don't diagnose us correctly. That, with AI, will change into 60 to 80% accuracy, because computer te thakan wala nahi hai. So let's use AI as our servant to make things better and more accurate. So now let's move on to 2 amazing awards. Ladies and gentlemen, schools and colleges flourish when visionary administrators stand behind them. Guiding teachers. I love what Inderveer ji said, that teachers are above everything else, on top of everything else, even decorators. So you do so much more than just teaching. So obviously, these administrators, they guide teachers, they enable students, and they hold together the fabric of education with a lot of wisdom, a lot of love and care. And the EDUSIKH Eminent Educational Administrator Award honors such leaders whose dedication ensures that institutions don't just run, but they truly shine. Tonight, we celebrate 2 administrators whose impact has touched both the classroom and communities, and honor these leaders with the EDUSIKH Eminent Educational Administrator Award 2025. May I please request our chief guest, Mr. Harjinder Kang, and Joginder Singh Oberoi, sir, to please join us on stage. Thank you once again. Fantastic. And ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the very first award of the evening, and that goes to Ma'am Tejinder Kaur Kandhari. Thank you so much, ma'am. And now, please put your hands together for the second award of the evening. And this goes to Ma'am Jaspal Kaur Banga. I wish to have a disclaimer put out that I am a student from Madam Jaspal Kaur Banga's school. So I promise you, thank you, there's absolutely no bias put into that. So it's an absolute out-and-out disclaimer. Fantastic. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my absolute and deep honor to introduce our chief guest, a leader whose journey bridges science, diplomacy, and service to humanity. Mr. Harjinder Kang is His Majesty's Trade Commissioner for South Asia and the British Deputy High Commissioner for Western India. He represents the UK's interests across India and the region with vision and purpose. Before his diplomatic career, he spent nearly 3 decades with AstraZeneca, I think we all know that name, rising from a research scientist to global commercial director, pioneering access to affordable medicines for the next billion people, obviously. As the UK's chief negotiator for the UK-India Free Trade Agreement, he helped shape one of the most important bilateral partnerships of our time. Beyond policy and trade, he has remained deeply connected to education, serving on the Council of the University of Birmingham and championing knowledge as the foundation of progress. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome our distinguished chief guest, Mr. Harjinder Kang.
Sat Sri Akal ji. Thank you very much for that very warm welcome, and I have a lot to live up to with that sort of build-up. But it's a privilege to be here, and as you know from the name, you can guess we're Sikh. My wife Kamaljit is here as well. Sikh Punjabi, second generation Brits, should we say. But it might be good for you to know, I was actually born in the Punjab. I was born just outside Jalandhar, and my parents left when I was about 2 years old. And my wife was actually born in the UK. But we've been raised as a traditional Punjabi family with traditional Punjabi values and all the Sikh values that you've heard earlier, absolutely what we live by. But I wanted to say one thing before I say anything else. The speeches made today were amazing, really, really good and insightful. And it brought back so many memories for me with respect to our childhood and our life. And 2 things I will say is that here is a guy who was born in a small village outside Jalandhar, who managed through education to do what he's doing today. And he's managed to stand here before you. So credit to all you guys. This is because of what you do that things like this can happen. And it's something that I was very proud to say. And I just wanted to make sure that there were teachers during my life that I was remembering when all these conversations were happening. And certainly there was one guy I will never forget who pushed my parents to let me to go to university. They didn't want to go. They said, you stay, you make money, you do business stuff that we all do. Why do you want to get educated? Don't be silly. Carry on doing this. But he pushed them, and credit to him. But it's a wonderful privilege to be here with you today and to actually discuss the things that are good between our 2 countries right now. And as you saw, it's a historic relationship between the UK and India right now. We had the privilege of hosting Prime Minister Modi in July. He came basically along with his Minister for Finance and his Minister for Commerce to sign our free trade agreement that we've agreed. It's a real pivotal moment in that relationship because it's not just about trade. It's a symbol of 2 countries wanting to play together and wanting for the long term. These things are not for 4 or 5 years. These are for decades. And it took roughly 4 years to discuss that. I led it for 2 years. My deputy led it for the balancing 2 years. And it was something which we're all very proud to see what's been achieved. Very much a win-win. Works for India, works for the UK. And I think one of the things that I was very proud and honored to be able to do was do that job being of Indian origin, but a British citizen. So, you know, the ability to bridge between the two countries for someone like me is an absolute honor, should we say. First of all, I would like to say the stories that I've heard today resonate. And, you know, amazing what's going on in the world today. The conversation on AI is a fascinating one. The world is changing like you wouldn't believe on a daily basis. I actually have a niece who is married to a guy who has set up a company which is creating AI to mark exam papers for universities. And it's actually happening. So where is this world where the students basically are using AI to put a paper together, and the AI computer is marking it? So what's the purpose of the student? What's the purpose of the teacher? It's a fundamental question you've been asking, and I think everybody's asking them. And I think the world going forward, I think on balance will be better because of what we can do with AI. You heard about medical diagnosis earlier. We've been using that in the UK for a while now. Differential diagnosis of people coming into surgeries so much quicker, so much faster, and probably so much more accurate. My daughter's a GP, so I better not insult her too much. And doctors are still needed, and they still need to use this. But the routine can be done so much better, so much quicker with the use of AI. I also heard a new language today, a mix of Punjabi and English. I was trying to think of a name for it, Punjinglish or something. My Punjinglish is not that good, so I'll stick to English. But yours is excellent, sir, so fascinating. But in terms of what do we do together as countries, I think education is a big one. I think if you look at the interest that I've seen from the UK universities about India, it's huge. Usually it's the, students travel from here, they go and study in a UK university. I sit, as you heard, I sit on the University of Birmingham's board. And after China, India's the number 2 source of foreign students for us. It's a fundamental link between the two countries. You won't be surprised, we had something like 95,000 visas we gave this last year for Indian students to study in the UK. And that's something like a quarter of all the visas we give to international students. Huge appetite to go and study in the UK, and always will be. But we're now thinking about the next layer of society. I mean, the people who can afford to go to the UK and get studied in the UK, fine. But there are many, many people who can't, and or their parents don't want them to go, so they want to study here. A lot of the universities are now looking to see what can we do here. And at least 3 are setting up in Mumbai, as you probably know. A couple have already started looking at Delhi, 1 in Bangalore, 1 in Gift City. And I think this is only the start of it. I think I had about 30 universities visit us last year, and all of them are looking at how do we want to be present in India. And it's all from distance learning, from JVs, joint courses, to actual putting footprint on the ground with campuses in India. My university, Birmingham, they've done joint master's degrees with IIT Chennai in AI of all things. And you do a year there, you do a year in Birmingham, you come out with a master's degree that both systems recognize, and all the employers will know it's from 2 very reputable organizations. So I think those are the ways forward, and a lot of other universities are looking at similar models too. And I would say that all of that bodes well for our relationship in these things. And essentially, I would say this is something which, it goes, I don't really like to mix religion and politics and all that sort of stuff, but our religion, Sikhism, does teach about doing the right thing, does teach about how can we make a difference to this world. And I think it was beautifully put to me earlier by one of your colleagues in terms of the basic tenets of the faith, which essentially says, service, dedication, and knowledge is what this is all about. And that should be the same throughout. It's not just Sikhism. It's based in human nature. There's a statement one of my friends have given me. It says, Guru bina gyan nahi, the gyan bina insan nahi. I mean, I think you know, there we go. In a number of words, we actually have it. And I would say, keep doing what you're doing. This is very important. It's not just important to the Sikhs community, it's important for the whole nation. And it's actually important for the whole globe that everybody takes education on board very, very seriously. And I would basically like to congratulate tonight's winners. Unbelievable what you've already done. I mean, the number of publications and books written are beyond belief. And carry on this journey, because it's very important that people develop in the country. And the next generation, I look forward to seeing you here one day doing all of this all over again, because that's the beauty of education and what it does. Thank you very much for inviting me and my wife. We loved it, and hopefully see you in over.
Thank you, Paramjit sir, to come up. May I request Fareen ma'am to also join us on stage. And we'd like to present you with the memento, sir. Mr. Kang, please. We are also eternally grateful to Guru Nanak Vidyak Society, and if Mr. Manjeet Singh Bhatti sir is here, we'll request his presence on stage. All right. We're also extremely grateful to Mini Punjab. They have stood by us on every occasion, and today's sponsors, in fact, happen to be Mini Punjab, and I'll request a representative from Mini Punjab to please join us on stage. No, they are not here right now. But nonetheless, we would like to put on record our immense gratitude to them, and of course to Frank Finn for the wonderful work that they have done as well for us. And with that, thank you so much, and we move on to the next stage, which is looking at the big thing, which is the EDUSIKH Best Teachers Award. So the idea when we put forward this process of thinking was, of course, to be able to recognize the immense hard work that teachers put in, and we truly believe that you deserve every bit of gratitude and recognition. Because ultimately, the heartbeat of every academic institution is its teachers. Those who show up every day with patience, creativity, love, shaping young minds one lesson, one person at a time. And the EDUSIKH Best Teacher Award celebrates this quiet excellence, honoring educators whose daily dedication transforms students' lives in ways that last a lifetime and therefore impact humanity for time to come. Tonight, we applaud 10 teachers who embody the very spirit of learning. And it's a small statement that the jury would like to make, and I'm quoting what is stated by the jury, that everyone is a winner. Unfortunately, there were 10 awards that could be picked up, and therefore, with absolute gratitude to everybody who was nominated, the jury would like to place on record the good work that everyone has done. But these 10 teachers, of course, all of them do, but these 10 teachers represent the very heartbeat of education, daily dedication that changes lives very quietly and profoundly. And the very first name that comes up today is, surprise, 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 the only gentleman to win an award today. So please put your hands together for the lone Sardar, Sardar Jatinder Singh Ahluwalia. It's a privilege to call him.
डॉक्टर आलूवालिया जोड़े है टीचर नहीं है तुहानू देखा नहीं किसी स्कूल नहीं पढ़ाते रिलायंस विच ही वॉज अ वाइस प्रेजिडेंट इन रिलायंस बट वो नाल वॉट ही वॉज डूइंग वॉज ही वॉज टीचिंग सिक्खी इन दी गुरुद्वारास ही वॉज डूइंग लॉट ऑफ बेसिक्स ऑफ सिक्खी करके एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है कि वो नाल काम कर रहे हैं एंड ही इज बी डूइंग वंडरफुल वर्क इन दैट सो though he is not a teacher in that typical sense of teaching in a school, but he is a great educator that way. Thank you so much, sir.
And also, I think what clinched the deal was, of course, he's an innovator using technology as well. So congratulations to him. Before we go to the next award, could I please request Mr. Sukhwinder Singh Chawla ji to please come up on stage. Chawla sahab, aao ji. And let's now put our hands together for more of the usual, women winning all the other awards. And the very first one, the second award of the evening goes to Ma'am Charanjit Kaur Khanpur. And for the third award of the evening, do you remember we're looking at the best t-shirts? So we're looking at number 3, and please come on stage, ma'am, Jaswinder Kaur Banga. And may I now request Sardar Bhajan Singh ji to please just come up on stage. And ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to bring on stage the 4th awardee of the evening, Madam Malkeet Kaur. And now, somebody who did immense work for EDUSIKH. We ran classes during COVID online because we realized that students in our community needed a lot of help. And therefore, one of the wonderful, bright teachers who helped us during that period of time And we're very proud to present this award to her. And we'd like to now welcome on stage Rashmeet Kaur. May I now request our Revered Siddharth Puran Singh ji to please join us on stage. And also for the audience to please put your hands together to recognize the work done by Ma'am Bhavneet Kaur Chaudhary. Thank you very much. And we go to the 7th award of the evening. Please give an enthusiastic round of applause to Ma'am Babaljeet Kaur Lal. could I request Inderjeet Singh Mata to please join us on stage? Inderjeet. And coming up, the 8th award of the evening. Please put your hands together to recognize Ma'am Harmeet Kaur. Harmeet Kaur. And it's now my absolute pleasure to please announce the next name, and that is Ma'am Sweetie Kaur Sethi. I don't see one, but I see 3 teachers here. God bless. And could we now request the presence of Farheen ma'am on stage? Farheen ma'am and Mrs. Kang as well, please. And ladies and gentlemen, I know dinner awaits, but this is the last award of the evening. And for that reason, we've called the absolute power of women to distribute the next award. And the winner of the 10th award, the last one for the evening, please put your hands together for Ma'am Gansharan Kaur Dhillan. Could we please request the presence of all the 10 best teachers to please come on stage, all of you, with your awards and the shawl. Hanji, hanji. Please do remember to join us for dinner. Could we request the EDUSIKH team to please come up on stage? The EDUSIKH team. And while they're coming up on stage, a few last words from me and my job as a master of ceremony is that education is not just about filling a bucket, rather it's about lighting a fire. And the world will not reward those who know. It will reward those who could learn, unlearn, and relearn. Each one of us has a matchstick in our hand. What now matters is who's willing to strike it. So, as we walk out from here today, let us carry with us not just notes and slides, but a renewed promise that every child we teach and every lesson we share, every life we touch and enrich, we will spark a brighter tomorrow. So remember, the future is not something that we enter. The future is something we create. And as educators, mentors, and dreamers, we are the architects of that future. So let's go and light fires. Thank you to all of these wonderful volunteers who worked. And on that note, I request EDUSIKH team. EDUSIKH team, come on.
So we've seen the hard work of the EDUSIKH team collecting all the biodatas, resumes, then listing them, shorting them, contacting each teacher for anything. And of course, this beautiful all AVs that you saw. Rashmi, a big clap for you for making all these AVs. Thank you so much. And big thank to all of you for working so hard to make this program a great success.
And I would request one of our biggest volunteer and वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. So I'm left with the duty of saying thank you to all of you who are present and who are not present here. So be with me for next 2 minutes, and then I promise you I'll leave you for dinner. So on behalf of EDUSIKH, I thank you all for making this night unforgettable. Teachers, you may continue guiding the next generation as you are doing always. And remember, civilization rise not on the shoulder of kings or warriors, but on the shoulders of teachers. In fact, if doctor saves life and engineer build infra, then teacher build generations. So keep that in mind. With that, I would like to thank our chief guest, Harjinder Kang, and his wife for gracing this occasion and the night. Thank you very much, sir and ma'am, for honoring us with your presence. I would also like to thank Guru Nanak College management, who always support us by providing all the infrastructure, all the support throughout our EDUSIKH journey. I would also like to thank our sponsor, Karnail Singh, Mini Punjab, Franklin Institute, SNA Gurbani channel for doing the live telecast, and you will also see the relay of this on the YouTube channel. I would also like to thank our EDUSIKH and DBM team, without which it was impossible to, come up with this, such a fantastic night of such a star-studded teachers and all our well-wishers. I would also like to thank foremost to all our volunteers, well-wishers. Without their support, this was impossible. We could have not done anything without them. And finally, I would like to say thank you to all the teachers, principals, participants, all the people who are here. Thank you very much for making this night such a wonderful evening for all of us. So thank you very much once again, and we will see you next year again for the next EDUSIKH Best Teacher Award. So now you are free to have the dinner. Thank you very much.